Okay. So in today's class, we'll see how we can handle pop-ups and also how we can work with multiple tabs or multiple pages. So before that, we need to understand one important concept, which is browser context. Okay, so throughout Playwright, so this concept is very important. So we need to understand what is browser context and what is page and what is the relationship between browser, context, and page. So these three are interrelated. So let us try to understand what exactly they are. So we already know what is browser means, right? So browser is what? Browser is just like an interface where we can browse the pages. Let's say when I send some URL, we'll get some response on the UI form. This is the browser actually, right? So the browser can be a Chromium or a Firefox or WebKit. These are all different browsers, right? So in the browser, we can open multiple pages. Let's say this is one page. Let's say I open another tab. Now this is another page. So this is also browser. This is also another browser. So this is also browser, but both are belongs to same browser and two different pages, right? This is one page and this is another page. Similar, I can open another page like this. So all three pages are belongs to same browser. All three pages belongs to same browser. So the page can be a new tab or a page can be a pop-up or sometimes a page can be a window. All are comes under the pages only. Okay. So you need to understand the difference between browser and the page. So one browser can have a multiple pages. Let's say this is Chromium browser I'm using. In the Chromium browser, I open three different tabs. So they are also called as the three different pages. Okay. Now, between the browser and the page, there is one more concept called context, which is another important thing. So what is the context means? The context is always describes the user profile. So indirectly, we can say the user profile itself is a context. For example, let's say I open this browser and whenever I launch my browser, you can see here, this browser is opened by me. This is a user configured inside the browser. So whichever page I have opened in the same browser, the same user profile will be used. So what is the use of this user profile? The user profile will have their own information, which is basically introduced for privacy and security. Suppose I have installed some number of plugins here or extensions on the Chrome browser. Suppose if you do not want to see these extensions and all, if you want to open the new browser or fresh browser, you can create your own user context or you can create your own profile, and through that profile you can open the browser. So one browser can have a multiple profiles. So suppose let's say I have a 5 different users are accessing the same machine. So 5 users can create their 5 different profiles for the same browser. So what is an advantage of user profile or context? Privacy. So whatever the extensions I have installed. So suppose somebody else, they don't want to see my extensions. And sometimes the browser will also save our information in the form of cookies and all. Right. So if another person come and use the same profile, so our information will be leaked, right? So instead of that, he can create their own profile or context and they can use the same browser again. So what we need to understand based on that, so the browser can have a multiple context. Similarly, the browser can also have a multiple pages. Browser can have a multiple pages. So if I open multiple tabs like this, every tab is a page. Every tab is a page. So for example, let's say if I go back to this particular page here, I'm just trying to click on this. Let's say I'm clicking on this new tab button. So it is opening another tab like this. So now this is one tab, this is another tab. Both are pages. Belongs to same browser. And what is the context here? I have already set my default context with my name here. This is the context. We can create our own context through automation. This is also page. This is also one page. Similarly, if I open this pop-up windows, I'm clicking on this button. When I click on this, now you can see there are two different pages are open again. So these are also pages belongs to the same browser. From where these two pages are open through this button. So when I click on this button, pop-up windows, these two pages are open. So these pages also belongs to the same browser. So in this context, we can call them as a pop-up also. because these both the windows are popping up whenever I click on this button. So these two also comes under the pop-ups or pages, belongs to the same browser, same context. Okay. So this is a basic difference. Like browser can have a multiple pages. Similarly, browser can also have a multiple context. Okay. So in the real-time usage, most of the times you will run automation on specific user context. So by default, your browser will configure with your own user context, with your profile, right? So when you launch your browser through our automation, right? So previously also, whenever you launch your automation, suppose I'm just using some test previously which we created. So here what exactly we are doing, we are directly using the page fixture, and through the page we are navigating the application. So by default it will create one user context. So that is the reason you may notice whenever you launch your application or browser through your automation, you won't see these extensions. Why? Because whenever you open this application through our automation or through page fixture, it will create their own user context. That's a default user context will be created. So on top of it, everything will be executed. So it won't disturb our privacy or security, which we created on your own browser. So that is the main advantage of user context. This is a mandatory. Most of the times, most of the automation tools will run the test by creating their own user context. And when it is needed, especially when you're working with multiple pages or multiple tabs, user context is very much important. Okay. So this is important thing. So when we have the profile only when we log in, if you log out, and how can another person use the browser in? No, here I'm not talking about the login and log out. Login and log out is totally different than user context. Okay. So user context means what? Whenever you launch the browser, you can see here. So this browser is configured with my user context, right? You can change this email ID. So manage your Google account. You can change this. Suppose if another user is got created, and you can change this. Okay, suppose I have another user profile here, other Chrome profile. I'm just selecting this. Now it is got changed now. So you can see now this is another user profile. So now I have two different browsers having two different context. So both are two different. Here I'm not talking about application logins and logout. Okay. So this is browser level settings, not application login and logout. So browser level. So if suppose as a user, I have installed these extensions, for example. Now, if I switch to another user profile, see this on this browser, you won't see those extensions. You won't see those extensions here because this is totally different user profile. Okay. So especially this concept is used whenever you are working with the multiple tabs or multiple pages in your browser. So today we will see how we can create a browser and user context and pages. So far how we have followed is we directly use the page fixture, and through the page we open the URL on the browser, and accordingly we follow the rest of the steps. So all the steps are executed on the same browser. Okay. So this is how we have done the test actually, right? Now today we will see how we can create a browser. I'll show you some examples, then you will understand. Okay, so this is a beginning part, so you won't be understand much. So have some patience. You will be understanding by seeing examples. Okay. Yeah. So let us see how we can create. So far we created the test directly by using page. So whenever I say page here, by default, it will have their own user context. So let me tell you something. Let me open the notepad. So far what we have discussed is first thing is a browser. So what is a browser? What we know about the browser? We have a Chromium, which is one of the browser. We have a Firefox. We have a WebKit. So these are all browsers currently supported by Playwright, right? And what is a page means? Every page, every browser can create multiple pages. Let's say this is my browser and this is one page. Let's say google.com I'm opening here. This is one page. Then I can open another tab. Here I can open something called yahoo.com, something like this, a different page. This is another page, right? These are the different pages or belongs to the same browser. So now what is a page? Page is basically representing a tab or a pop-up or a window. So these are all comes under the pages as per the Playwright context. So between the browser and page, between the browser and the page, there is another thing called context. So here context will come into picture. So browser context, context can have a pages like this. So one browser can have a multiple context also, and each context can have a multiple pages also. So this is actual relationship. So one browser, the browser can be Chromium, Firefox, Xbit, whatever it is. The browser can have a multiple context. Means what? Multiple user profiles we can create. So don't misunderstood here. Context means what? User profiles. So one browser can have a multiple user profiles, and with that user profiles, if you have a multiple user profiles, we can open multiple pages with the different user profiles. Let's say the browser is having one user, that user is working with some other page, another user working with another page, third user working with third page, different pages. So this is a relation actually. So the browser can have a context, and once we have created a context or user profile, we can create multiple pages by using that particular context. But so far how we have followed, we just skip these two. We directly work with the page. So that is the reason we just pass page as a fixture, and all this rest of the methods we are accessing directly from the page. But when I use page directly, when I skip these two, browser and context, but which browser and which context will be used by default? By default, which browser and which context will be used? Chromium browser will be used. So by default, Chromium browser will be used. Okay. And by default, it will create their own context. Why? Because so far we haven't touched these two. We directly use a page fixture. But from today, we are going to create a browser, our own context. Then we will work with the page. So why we need today itself? Because we need to work with the multiple tabs or multiple pages. So we have a multiple tabs or multiple pages, then we need a context. Only through context we can control them. So let me show you an example so that you will be able to understand. So now, so far we directly work with the pages. On the locators, elements, everything we will able to access through pages. But now we will try to create the browser, our own context, and then we will create our pages. And this concept help us to work with multiple tabs, multiple pop-ups, or multiple browser windows. So let me show you an example with the browser context. We first understand about browser context clearly. Then we will see how we can handle multiple tabs, multiple pop-ups, and so on. Let's go and create a new folder for today's class, day 31. Listen very carefully. Don't miss any single point. Still, if you have not clear, I will clarify all the questions at the end of the session. Okay. By this example, you will understand definitely. So I'm creating one example. Let's say test underscore, I call it as a BR context, browser context, because this is a prerequisite which we need to understand before working with the multiple tabs and multiple pop-ups. Okay. So first thing, we will try to import required things. Normally what you will do is we will import Playwright Sync API from expert and everything. So after that, let me create one test function. Let's say def test underscore. I call it as a browser context. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a few differences. Listen this carefully. So previously what we have done here, we passed the page fixture from the page class. So we need to also get the page class here. Right now we just say page.goto and we specify the URL directly. We specify the URL directly. So for example, we just go back and some URL, let's say google.com. We directly pass URL like this, right? So we directly use page fixture and we just, so in this case, by default, it will take Chromium browser and then it will create their own user context. By default, it will create their own user context. But now we are going to create our own browser. So as I said before, this is a relationship. Browser, the browser, we will create our own context. And by using the context, we can create multiple pages, one page or multiple pages. So this is a relation. So one browser, we will create one context. We can get multiple context also, but for now we need only one context is enough. Create one new context. And by using this, we will create multiple pages. So for that, what we need to do is we are starting from the browser here, right? So whenever you want to create your own browser and context, here we should not pass a page picture. If you want to start directly from the page, then you have to start from the page and you can continue with that. But now we want to work with the context, browser context. So for that, we need to use something called Playwright fixture directly. So the fixture name itself is a Playwright. And this should come from the Playwright, a predefined class. And this class we need to import. So when I import, from where we need to import? Sync API itself. So this class we need to import. So whenever you want to create your own browser, own context, you have to start from the Playwright fixture, not from the page fixture. Okay. Now, so when you get the Playwright fixture, we cannot directly use the page now. Before that, we need to create our own browser, our own context. Then you can create your own page. Then you can launch your application. These are the steps. Now, the first thing is what we need to create our browser. So how to create the browser using Playwright fixture? Take this Playwright parameter dot which browser you want to create. So here you can see Chromium, Firefox, WebKit. So all the browsers are available. So I'm taking Chromium browser. I'm taking Chromium browser. So this I'm going to store in a variable called Chromium. So this will actually gives the Chromium browser. Now we need to launch this Chromium browser. So to launch this Chromium browser, I say Chromium dot, we can use one more method called launch. And this is actually browser, which will return the browser. So this will launch the Chromium browser, will store in the variable. So if you want to write one single statement instead of two, we can do like this. Use a Playwright fixture dot, which browser you want to use? Chromium dot launch. Launch. So this will give you the actual browser. Because until unless you have a browser, you cannot create a context. Okay. So with this single statement, we created a browser. Step number one. How to create a new browser? I say Playwright fixture dot chromium dot launch. So this command will create a new browser. After creating the browser, what is the next thing? We can create our own context. We can create multiple context or single context. But here our importance is working with multiple pages, not working with multiple contexts. So here one context is enough. So by using the browser, we need to create a context. So to create a context, take this browser variable dot, there is a method called new underscore context. This method will create a new context. And that we are going to store in another variable. I call it as a context. So two statements. So here we created the browser, created our own browser, and here we created our own context, our own context. So once you created the context, we can create multiple contexts. You can say browser.new context, context one. Then if you want to create another context, so again, just say context two, then browser.new context. Same method, we can create multiple contexts like this. But for now, we need only one context is enough. I'm just creating one context. So context equal to browser.new context. So we created browser context. Then what we can do? Pages. We can create a pages. So once we created the browser context, we can create n number of pages. So to create a pages using the same context, take the help of the context dot new page. So this will create a new page. Now I can store this in a page variable. So from now onwards, this we can use this our own page to the rest of the automation code. So previously we just keep all this stuff. We just specify the page fixture and we directly refer the page fixture here. But now what I'm doing, I'm creating my own browser, our own context, and through the context, I've created my own page. Then I'm continue the same page. I'm using same page for rest of the code. This is the procedure. Creating the browser, creating the context, and now I created one page. Can we create multiple pages? Yes. So let me create page one. Now I create another page. Let's say page two. As I said before, page is referring, it can be a tab or it can be pop-up or it can be browser window. Another page. So two pages I've created. Now this page one and page two. So now what is the benefit of creating multiple pages? Because we can work with multiple URLs in parallelly, or we can work with multiple URLs at a time. So normally if I don't have created these pages, so normally what will happen? Suppose I created one page. Let's say context dot new page I created. Just single page I created. That previous approach. So with this page, I can launch only one application and you can work with only this application. Suppose I want to launch another application parallelly or another app I want to launch. And parallelly, I want to work with the two different URLs. Is it possible by using one single page? No. So for example, here I'm launching google.com in one page and here I will work. Parallelly, I'll open another tab and here I can say another application. Then here I will work on some other validation I want to do here. So this is one URL, one page, this is another page. But if I use only one page fixture or one page instance, you cannot work with the both the URLs parallelly. At a time, you cannot work. But if you want to work with the both by using single page, what you need to first you need to launch this URL and then you need to do some work on it. And after completion of that, then you need to use again page.goto and then you need to specify another URL. So here you need to specify another URL. But at a time, you cannot work on both the URLs. That is the problem. So that is the reason. Yes, exactly. You are right. Okay, so that is the reason we have to create multiple pages to work with multiple applications simultaneously. So that's the main achievement we can do, we can achieve with this context. Okay, so now I created one page. Similarly, I will try to create another page. So let's call it as a page one. Now I call it as another page, page two. So two contexts I've created. Now we can use page one for one application. Page two is for another application. Okay. Now how many contexts I have created? Two contexts I created. So here created context one. And this is, sorry, this is created page one. By using same context, I created page one and using same context created page two. Now I will work with multiple pages or multiple application by using two pages. So for example, let's say page one dot go to. And here I can launch one application, one type of application. So let's launch some application, let's say Playwright official website. And in this application, what I'll do is I can put some assertion. So before that, I'll wait for some time here. Let's say page one dot wait for timeout. Let's say 3 seconds. And then I do some validation on this. Let us say, as soon as you launch this application, I will do some validation. Let's say I want to verify the title of this particular page. So if I inspect this element, inspect this page, you can find the title on the header part. So here, this is our title. So let us capture this title and see. So currently we selected Python here. So it is giving Playwright Python, but by default, it will be Node.js. So actually this is the actual title of this. Okay. So let me use this. So how we can verify the title of the page? By using same page, page one dot, how we can verify the title of the page dot to have title. So we have a method here to have. Do you guys remember what is the method to verify the title of the page? We cannot get the title directly. We can put expect directly, right? So expect, inside the expect of the page one dot here, there is to have a title. This is the title of the page. So what we have done by using this page one, we work with one application, and without disturbing this, I will also use another application by using page two. So now I'm using another page two dot go to. Here I will launch some other type of application. So let us say I'm trying to use another URL. This is a different application. Now here also I can do validation. So why I'm doing page one and page two here? Because by using page one itself, I cannot work with the two applications simultaneously, right? So that's the reason I'm just trying to use two different pages for two different kind of applications. So this time I'm launching another page and the title I'm using this, have title Selenium. This is the title I'm using. Okay. So this is simple example. So we created our own browser. We created our own context. By using the same context, we created two different pages. One page is pointing to one application, another page is pointing to another application. Suppose if you have not created these pages, browsers and all, one single page fixture you can use for this one. After completion of this, then you can use this one. One after another will execute. But I want to use same multiple pages for multiple applications. So this we can achieve using browser context. So if you want to create multiple pages, you need a context. And if you need a context, you have to create your own browser. This is the dependency. So we cannot create our context directly, right? If you want to create multiple pages, if you want to create one single page, directly we can pass page picture and you can use page.goto, straightforward. But if you want to create multiple pages, you need a context. So to create a context, we need a browser. And if you want to create a browser, you have to use Playwright fixture here. So this is a dependency. Okay. Now, previously, when I use a page fixture directly without browser and context, we're able to run this test in the headed mode. So how we have run this in headed mode? We just directly configure here, right? Modify run configurations. Here we specify headed mode and then apply. Then we say okay and we run it. But now let us see whether it will run or not. I'm just running this. Run PyTest test. You can look at this. It is running actually, but we cannot see the browser or we cannot see any pages. So by default, it is running in headless mode. Even though we pass that parameter at the runtime, still it is running in the headless mode only. So why it is, yeah, now it is got failed somewhere. Okay, so this is fine. Page 1, 3000, expect to have, okay. Yeah, so the title is failing actually. To have title is a little bit different. Let me check the title of this page first of all. I'll tell you why it is running in headless mode. Okay, so let's go to the Selenium page. Let us find out the right title of this. Okay, in the header mode, yeah, title is Selenium, uppercase character. Okay, so sorry guys, so this is a page 2, right? So this is page 1 validation. Here, this is also page 2. Here also page 2. So we have done some mistake. Okay, perfectly fine. So look at this. When I run this, what is happening? Even though we specified headed mode, still it is running in headless mode. I'll tell you why. So now it is successfully run and passed. So headless mode it is followed, even though we passes headed parameter. So why is it so? Because previously we directly use page fixture. So when I use page fixture directly, we can configure headed mode through the configurations. Or through command prompt also, we can pass that option -- headed. That will work. But when I create our own browser and context, by default, headed mode is false. By default, headless mode is false. So we need to make it headless mode is true actually. We need to make it false. So where we have to make it false, and especially this is applicable whenever creating a context. So at the time of launching the browser itself, here in the statement, here we need to specify headless. By default, it is true actually. So that's the reason our test is executing in the headless mode. So we have to make it false. Here we need to do configuration. So if you do this option here, then in the configuration, you no need to pass this option. Even though if you pass it here, no problem. Even though if you're not passing this, still it will execute on the headed mode. This is the another important thing you need to remember. So when I use directly page fixture to launch the browsers and all, you can specify headed mode option inside the configuration or in the command prompt. But when you create your own browser and context, you have to explicitly specify headless equal to false. Then only your test will execute on headless mode. Okay, so headed mode, otherwise not. So now I'm running the same test, just observe. This time it will open two pages because we created two pages, two different applications. Run it. Now you can see this is one page, this is another page. Now it is trying to open another page. You can see both the tabs are open, two different pages. Now it is got passed. My expectations are passed. So this is an advantage of creating multiple pages. Suppose if you want to achieve this with the single page, can we achieve this with a single page? Yes, you can achieve, but at a time you can see only one application. On the browser, you can see only at a time one application. Because first you will use this one, page.goto, you will do this. And after that, by using same page, you will open another application. Then what will happen? Oh, the old application will be replaced with the new one. So instead of that, if you want to work with multiple applications, then you can use multiple pages you can create. So this is an advantage of creating the browser context and multiple pages. You understood my point? So far everything is clear why we need to create browser context and pages. If you don't create multiple pages, still you can use one single page fixture. Directly you can use, but at a time you cannot see both applications. Okay, so Playwright will point both applications. Page 1, when I use page 1, it will point to the first application. When I use page 2, then it is point to the second application. So here we can easily switch to one application to another application by referring this page object, page 1 and page 2. In the next example, I will show you that. Okay, so switching is very easy in Playwright. It's not like Selenium. Selenium, we provided some switching commands there. But here we don't have such type of switching command. We can easily switch to one page to another page. Okay. Now this is a basic example to understand the browser context. But based on this, we have to achieve a lot of things. Because to understand working with the tabs, working with the pop-ups, you need to understand this concept before. So that's the reason I have given this example. So I hope everybody is clear about browser, context, and pages. So we create our own browser, create our own context. Then we can, by using the context, we can create n number of pages. And we can open multiple applications for using multiple pages. And all these pages are using same context. Okay. Now, so based on this, we will try to handle multiple pop-ups and also multiple tabs, how we can work with multiple tabs, how we can switch between multiple tabs. We will see some examples. Let me close this. Now, let us see the pop-up. So as I said beginning, what is a page? Page is nothing but it can be tab or it can be pop-up or it can be browser window. Anything considered as a page only, browser page only. So if I go back to this application, let me open this. Okay. So if I go back to this application, now I'm just clicking on this pop-up windows button. So when I click on this, so here we don't have any tab ID, window ID, nothing. Don't compare with the Selenium, okay? Selenium's approach is totally different. The Playwright approach is also totally different. Okay, so now here, pop-up windows. I'm just clicking on this. First I'm opening this application and then I'm clicking on this pop-up windows button. Then it opens the two different pages. We can also call them as a pop-up pages or pop-up windows, whatever name it is. Okay, basically these two are come from the main application. So now you tell me how many pages are there now on my UI, how many pages you are able to see? 1, 2, or 3. How many pages you are able to see? Totally 3 pages. So the main page is this one and second page is Selenium.dev, third page is Playwright.dev. Right? So before opening this, you have only one page. And after clicking on the button, you will see 2 pages. Right? So now let us see how we can work with them. So my requirement is I want to click on this pop-up windows. Then it will open another 2 pages. Then I will find out how many total number of pages are present. And after that, I will do some task in this particular page, Selenium.dev, or else I can do another task in the Playwright.dev. So we can switch between this window to this window or the main window. So you can switch between multiple browser windows. You can do one activity here and you can do another activity here. And this is again possible through browser context. So let us see. And also this pop-up is an event. We need to trigger one event. We need to register an event, pop-up event. Like we have a dialog event, right? In the previous classes we have seen. Similarly, this is a pop-up event we need to raise. So let's see step by step how we can handle this. So take another file, test underscore. I call it as a pop-ups. You can call them as a pages also, okay? Pop-ups, test underscore pop-ups. And in this test underscore popups, first of all, we'll import required stuff. And whenever you create a browser context or browser, Playwright class should be imported. Now I'm creating one test function, def test underscore handle popups. Okay, now which fixture we have to use here to create our own browser context? Which fixture? Playwright fixture. Playwright, that should come from the Playwright class. So whenever you use Playwright class, we need to import here. Okay, so what is the first step? Same procedure. We need to create our own browser, own context, our own page. Okay, now first thing we need to create our own browsers. How to create? By using Playwright fixture. Playwright dot Chromium, whichever browser you want, you can create Chromium dot launch. And if you want to run the test in the headed mode, then we have to make this as a false, headless equal to false. Headless equal to false. You need to pass. Okay, don't forget this. Okay, if sometimes some people will forget this and still they are trying to execute in the headed mode, they won't execute by using options. So you have to specify this headless equal to false whenever you create your own browser. So this will actually return the browser. So I'm storing in a variable. And by using this browser, we can create a context. So browser dot context. Context, this is the function. New context. Browser dot new underscore context. So this will return the context. Right. So now by using the context, I am creating one new page. Page equal to context dot new page. New underscore page. Now I have a browser, have context and the page. Now I'm using this page to launch my application. Let's say page dot. I'm creating only one page for now. Based on this, we will see how we can handle the pages, multiple pages. Page dot go to, and this is the our application I'm launching. Okay, so as soon as you launch your application, then what is the next step? We need to click on this. Then it will open multiple pages. This one and this one. Right, this is also an event. So it will trigger an event. So we need to register that event before clicking on this button. These two are pop-up windows. So there are again two ways. One is we can create our customized function and we can pass that function inside the page.on method, or else we can write a lambda function. Same procedure. In the previous classes, I've told you two approaches. Same thing we have to follow. So we have seen two different events in previous classes. One is for dialog, another is for download. Today, we are going to see the same thing for handling pop-up. So first, let me show you how to create a customized function. Simple def, I call it as a handle pop-up, and we need to pass the event name, which is pop-up, as a parameter. And inside this, simply write one method called popup dot wait for. There is a method called, we have already passed a popup. So this is popup. And using this popup, we can call one method called wait underscore for underscore load state. So what exactly this method will do? This will wait for popup till open the popup. So this is a customized function I have written. So we are just passing one popup here. So once we create a customized function, we need to pass it inside the page.on. So what is the use of page.on? This will actually, here we registered the event, and that event we are passing into page.on. So this will actually handle the popup. Page.on. So what is the name of the event? Popup. And what is the customized function we created? Handle popup. This is one approach. You can create our own customized function, and then we can pass this function here inside the page.on. And this is not recommended. Most of the times we use lambda. So to do this, I can just comment the single statement I'm going to write here. Directly you can say page.on, right? This is the function we have created. Instead of that, same thing. Popup is my event. The first thing won't change. But instead of writing the function and passing it here, we are writing the lambda here. Lambda. So lambda will take one parameter. So what is the parameter we are passing in the function? Popup. Lambda popup colon. And inside the function, what we have written here, popup dot wait for load state. Same thing, same body, we will write it here. So instead of writing the function and again calling another page dot on, we just combine into one statement using lambda. So I hope you should be familiar with this because we have used this third time, I guess. Okay. Same thing we have used in the previous sessions also, lambda. Now, after doing this, we need to click on the button. So because we need to we need to register this event before clicking on the button as per the Playwright. So now we need to inspect this element, pop-up elements, get the CSS for this. This is the CSS for that element, get it. And now you click on it. Again, same page fixture, page dot locator dot click. So this will actually opens the multiple windows. And after that, page dot wait for timeout. I'm using some timeout here just for your understanding. Okay, so are we using multiple pages here so far? Are we using multiple pages or single page? We still use only single page, right? Even though we created browser and context, I just create only one page. I've not created multiple pages. But once you click on this button, you will get a multiple pages. Okay, so let's execute till here and see whether it is opening the multiple pages or not. Okay, so one more important thing. So this page is created under this context. So after that, whatever pages are opened, all pages are belongs to the same context. Remember this. So this is the main page, right? So when I click on this button, it is open two more pages. So these two pages also belongs to the same browser or not, same context or not? Yes. So whichever context is got created for the main page, after opening these two pages also, the same context will be maintained. So then how many pages are there in the current context? How many pages are there in the current context? Totally. After opening these two pages, totally three pages are there. So we will get that information through automation. See that. So after clicking on that, I'm waiting for 5 seconds. Now I want to get how many pages are present on my UI. How we will get that? Using the context. Even though we are using same page, after opening two more additional pages, totally three pages are belongs to the same context. Now I'm using the context. How to get multiple pages from the context? Context dot pages. So actually this will return all the pages in a variable. We will store them in all variables. So I'm just giving some name to the all underscore pop-ups. All underscore pop-ups. So how many should be, how many all pop-up should be? It should be 3, right? So let's try to print them. Print total number of not only pop-ups, all pages, including main page. Total number of pop-ups or pages. Even pop-up pages considered as the same according to the Playwright. Now I'm using all pop-ups. This is basically list. The pages will return the list. So to find the number of options, number of pages in the list. So what is the function we can use here? In the length function we have for the list collection. That you can use it here. So what we have achieved here is we just open one page with the URL and we click on this pop-up button. It will popping up another two more pages, total 3 pages. We get those 3 pages using context and we find out how many are there. Okay. So let us try and execute this and see. So we already specified headless equal to false. So obviously it will execute on headed mode. Now I'm running this. Look at this. This is my first page. So after it clicking, now we can see 2 different pages are open. Till now we have automated. Now we find out how many are there. 3 pages are there. Total number of pop-ups are page 3. So we successfully captured those 3 pages. How we capture? Using context itself. Even though we use one single page, And after opening the pop-ups, these pop-ups also belongs to the same context. Whichever page we started here, which this page is belongs to same context. So through this page only we open another two pages. So those pages also belongs to same context, because one context can have a multiple pages as per the previous example. Now we capture all the pop-ups, three pop-ups. Now I want to print the URLs of those pop-ups. Let's say after clicking on this, I have a three pages. All three pages URLs are different or not? This URL main page URL is different. This child page URL is different, selenium.dev, and this page URL is different. So let us capture the URLs of those three pages. So how we can capture them? URLs. You can simply write a looping statement because we have a multiple pop-ups here. Okay. So let me use a for loop. So capture the URLs of all the pop-up pages. So I'm writing one for loop. So for, um, let's say pop-up window, right? So I call it simply PW, pop-up window in all pop-ups. So from all pop-ups, we are reading one by one pop-up window, one by one. And from this PW, I extract the title. So take this PW, or we can call it as a pop-up or else. Okay, so don't confuse by saying the name PW dot title. So this will extract the title or URL, right? So we want to get the title and URL. So PW dot title, or if you want to get the URL, PW dot URL. You can use URL. So whichever you want, you can use. Okay, so this is how we can get it. So this will actually print. So I'm just writing here pop-up or page URL. I'm just printing this. So let's execute till here. So what we have achieved so far, we just open the main page and then we click on this button. It will open the two different pages. We have handled this event. After waiting some time, we captured all the pages and just we printed how many pages are there. After that, we capture the URLs of all three pages. Okay. Let's see. In console window, it should print the URLs of all the pages. Okay, now we can look at this. Now three pages have opened. Yeah, now something is got failed. So I think pw.url is not, this is not a function, guys. Actually, this is just a simple variable pw.url. That's it. Let me run once again. So we already set headed mode. So it will run through headed mode. Now two pages have been opened. Yes, now we can look at this. This is the first page URL, main page, second page, and third page. So we successfully captured the information about those three pop-up windows or pop-up pages. Now I want to do some activity on the particular page. Let us say after opening this, I have a three windows are open, three browser windows are open, but I want to close one of them. Either the main page or this one I want to close. Or I want to do some activity. Let's say I have a three pages. Now in the second page, Playwright window, you can see, right? In the Playwright window, I want to click on the get started. So this is called switching. So I have a three different pop-ups or three different pages. I want to do some activity in whichever browser you want. So let us say I want to do some activity on the Playwright browser window or Playwright pop-up window. Here I want to click on this get started. After clicking on this, you will see some other page. So how we can do that? So currently we have a three pop-ups. Now I want to do some activity, especially in some pop-up. So where I want to do activity, I want to do some activity on the Playwright pop-up window. Remember that. So for that, uh, this is one requirement. Let me write another requirement. So my requirement is, so I want to iterate all pop-ups one after another. But whenever I get a Playwright pop-up, then I want to do some activity. So you can also continue the same looping statement if you want. So let me continue this. So we already printed URL. Now I want to get the title because we have to know some information about the pop-up window, otherwise we cannot switch. So every page is having a different titles, so I'm just relying on the titles. So let us capture the title of the pop-up window. Pop-up window dot title. So this will give the title actually, so that I can store in a variable title. Right now I will compare if the title, if this particular title is this one. Let's say I'm opening two pages. Now if I look at the Playwright page title, inspect this Playwright page, go to header part and title. This is the actual title of the Playwright page, right? Now this title contains this Playwright. Then I will switch to that particular pop-up window. So then what I will do is, in the same looping statement, I capture the title, right? Now I'll put one if condition. I'll put if condition. If this Playwright is a title, this Playwright should be part of the title variable. We can use in operator, right? In if condition. If this particular text in this particular title, whatever we capture the title, the Playwright is part of this title, then what we should do, we can perform some action. So what is an action I can do here is I just try to click on this get started. So inspect this element and see this class available. So if I go back to selector hub, and this is the locator which is given. Now go back. If the Playwright is part of the title, then I will take page dot locator. Should we use page here? Can we use page? If I use like this, page dot locator dot click, which page it will take? Can anyone guess which page it will take? Because we have a 3 pages now. From all the pop-up pages, we got one pop-up. We've just printed, capture the title, and we have verified the title. If it is a true, then we are doing it. So when I use page here, which page it will take? Because we have a 3 pages. So here we should not use page. Okay, because we have a 3 pages now. After opening this 2 more pop-ups, we have a totally 3 pages are there. Right. So in which page we want to do this action? Playwright page. So where is the Playwright page? This one. PW is representing the Playwright page, right? Now that we have to use. Playwright dot locator, and this one is clicked. And after that, again, this PW is acting as a page. PW dot, I wait for some time here, wait for timeout. And after that, you can do some expectation. So what is the expectation? After clicking on this get started, you will get this page. Now we can do some validation on this. I'll verify the title here again. So go back to the header, and this is the title. So that I want to validate. So how we can validate again? PW, the same page that we should put inside the expect of PW. Here PW is referring the page itself. Okay. Dot to have title, and I can pass a title like this. Okay. So after verifying this, simple, I want to close this now. I want to close the Playwright window. Okay, again, I'm going back. So this will click and 2 windows are open. Then what I have done? Just a second. Close this. Okay. So now I clicked on this button, pop-up windows, 2 pages are open. I capture all 3 pages. Then I switch to this Playwright window. I clicked on this and verify the title of this. After that, I want to close this. Then how we can close this? Same PW dot close. This will actually close the Playwright window. Close the Playwright pop-up or window. So this is how we need to write a logic. So on whichever pop-up window you want to work, or whichever page you want to work, you have to first get the title of that and compare if that value or the text is part of the title, then do this activity. Okay, suppose if you want to work with another window, Selenium window is there, right? So I want to work with this. So then what you should do, you should specify another title. So here you can see header tag, there is another title here, Selenium. So then you can put another condition. another condition. So like this, if here this title is in Selenium, okay, and then you should do the activity. So these activities should be part of the Selenium window. Or if you want to do the activity in main window, then again put the title of the main window and do the activities. Okay. So this is again looping statement. So when I use looping statement, every time we cannot put multiple if condition, because first time it will get, suppose Selenium, then this if condition will work. Second time it will get Playwright, then Playwright window will work. Each time it will work only one thing. Okay, so this is how we can switch to one pop-up window to another pop-up window and it will work. Let's see now how it will work. So after that, again come out from this for loop. Again, wait for some time to see the effect on the browser. I'm just keeping the wait time. Otherwise, no need. And once it is completed, if you want to close everything, all browser windows I want to close. Here I closed only Playwright window, but rest of the two browser windows are still open, right? Main window and Selenium window. So if you want to close them also, so directly close a context.close. And where we created the context based on the browser. So browser also you can close. I can say browser.close. So with this, everything will be closed. Okay, so this is an example. So we started with only one single page, but after clicking on this button, it opens two more additional pages. All three pages are belongs to the same context. From the context, we extracted all the pages. Then we have iterated one after another, each and every page. And if the page title contains this one, and then we perform certain activities on that particular page. Finally, we closed everything. So this is how we can work with multiple pop-ups using context. Here, most important thing is a context. Okay, one page is enough here because rest of the two pages we haven't opened actually, which is automatically opened by the application by clicking on the button. So that's the reason we no need to create multiple pages. All right, so let's run the test and see. So we have added all the expectations also. So now this is the main browser window. Two browser windows are opened. Now it should click on get started in the second. Now it is successfully clicked. Then it captured the title. Now you can see the second window is already closed. And finally we closed context and browser. So rest of them also successfully closed. So this is a output. We captured the URLs at the beginning, right? So it is just printed them. Okay. So this is how we can simply handle pop-ups by using context. So context is very important. I'll show another example. We'll see that. So you will see sometimes authentication pop-ups. That is also kind of a page. Authentication pop-up, authentication window. That also you should be able to handle using context. So let me show you one more example. So let us go to these applications. Yes. So dialog and alerts are one comes under one category. Okay. And pop-ups comes under the different category. So alerts and dialogues, we have already seen how to handle them in the previous classes. So there we have to trigger dialog event. Here we have to trigger pop-up event. There is a difference. Okay. Alert and dialog is same as per the Playwright context. So alert and dialog is same. Pop-up and pages is the same. So this is little bit different. Okay. So when you compare with Selenium, in Selenium, everything will consider as the same. But here it is different context. Right. Now, let me show you how we can handle authentication pop-up. Sometimes you can see in your real-time applications. Let me show you this. You can open this URL. So when I click on this URL, it will directly open login window like this. Until unless you provide your username and password, it won't open the application. So what you will do manually, you will provide a username. Let's say I'm passing admin and admin. I say click on sign in, then only it is able to log in. So I have given incorrect username and password. So let me give correct. All are lowercase admin and admin. When I click on sign in, now it is successfully signed in. Then it is showing congratulations. So until unless we handle that login pop-up, we cannot successfully log in. Okay, so let us try to handle this through our automation. So to do this, we have two approaches. I'll show you two approaches, and but most of the times we follow the context approach. So there is one is a direct approach. We can inject username and password along with the URL. That is one approach. Second approach is we can pass username and password along with the context. There are two approaches. So let me show you this. Go to Python file and test underscore auth popup. Right. So as usual, we need to import everything. Now I'm writing a test function. Def test underscore auth popup. So first I'm going to show you the direct approach. So direct approach in the sense we are going to inject a user login with URL. So I'll show you how we can do this. So what is the default URL of the application is, let me copy here. So this is a default URL. So when I open this URL on the application, it will ask you the login directly. It will ask you the login. Now I want to bypass this login. So to do this, the same URL, but we need to inject the username and password. So to inject the username and password, there is a syntax actually. So to inject this, we need to pass username after HTTP. Yes, here we need to pass slash slash. Here we need to pass admin. This is actually username colon admin password at the rate, and then rest of the part will be started. So this is a syntax. Injecting username and password inside the URL. So if I open this URL, it will just bypass the login. So when I go and open the application, now we can see this. I'm injecting the username and password along with this URL and directly go to the congratulations page. It is just bypass the login. So this is actually not recommended. So we can directly pass this URL in the page.goto method. So here we don't need any browser context or nothing. Just pass the page picture directly from the page class. Here I say page.goto, and this URL you can directly pass. Right. So after that, I can wait for some time. So whenever you want to wait for the page total load, you can use wait for some time, or instead of time, there is another method you can put wait for load state. So what is the difference between wait for timeout, wait for load state? Wait for timeout, we have to specify the fixed time. It will wait till the time is reached. But when I say wait for load state, this is a little bit dynamic. It means it will wait till the entire page is loaded. So this will work more effectively than time. So sometimes you can also use this. So wait for load state. Then I will do some validation here. So after opening this, I'm passing username and password along with this URL. So after opening this, I just want to verify this message contains the congratulations. So get this locator of this element. Let us say this is the actual locator, right? So which contains this one. PCS is equal to 1, something is there. So or else you can use a text. In CSS, we also have something called text. I can use like this. So text equal to congratulations. It won't work directly. So is it working? Yeah. So we can directly put like this. Text equal to congratulations also will work. Can use this as a locator. Right. So let me use this. Page dot locator. Text equal to congratulations. This is actually locator. Can we put expectation on this locator? Yes. So I'll put this in the expect. Page dot locator. Text equal to congratulations. Now what we are expecting? I can say to be visible. To be visible. I'm just verifying the visible because we cannot verify the text. You can also use to have value. Otherwise, you can use to be visible. Anything is fine. And after that, I can just wait for some time. Page dot wait for timeout 5000 seconds. Simple test I have written to just bypass the login. So what we have done in this, we just injected username and password along with the URL. That's it. So let's run this because we haven't used any browser context in this approach. Okay. So even Selenium, we followed this approach, but in Playwright, is provided context approach. So we follow that. We prefer that. So let us run this. And here you can do the configuration headed mode hyphen because we are directly using page picture. That's still fine. Run it. Perfect. Now you can see it is it is just bypass the login and directly go to congratulations message. So this is one approach. We can directly pass this username and password along with the URL. This is the one syntax. So now I'm going to show you another approach. This is the direct approach. For now, I'm just going to skip this. PyTest dot mark dot skip. Whenever you're using some decorators, you have to import PyTest. Okay. So now I'm going to show you another approach. This is the direct approach by passing username and password along with the URL. Now the second approach using context. Using context means what? We can pass username and password inside the context. We can pass user and password inside the along with the context. Along with the context. Okay, now let me show you. Just copy the same thing. Auth popup underscore, I call it as a context. Okay. So whenever using context, what is the fixture we have to use instead of page? What is the fixture we have to use? Playwright fixture. Okay, remember that. Whenever you want to work with the context, you always try to use Playwright fixture. Playwright should come from the Playwright class. Now, so this we have to change later. Now, we will create our own browser, own context, and own page. While creating the context, we have to pass username and password. So, how to create the browser? Playwright dot chromium dot launch. So this will give the browser. Okay. Now we need to create the context from the browser. So browser dot new context. This will give the context. Okay. And we can create the page by using context. So context dot new page. This will give the page. Right. So now this particular page I'm using everywhere. Okay. But now the thing is, this time I will pass the original URL. I'm not going to pass the username and password here. Original URL. Okay. So when you pass original URL, definitely it will ask user login and password. It won't be bypass the login. So we need to handle that. So to handle that, whenever you create a new context here, in this, we have to pass credentials. So when I put the cursor on this, and the help, it will show one option called HTTP credentials. You can see this parameter. This is an important HTTP underscore credentials that we need to pass in the context. HTTP credentials like this. HTTP credentials equal to. So username and password are basically a dictionary, right? Username is some admin, password equal to admin. So the data seems like a dictionary. So here we have passed a dictionary kind of thing. So in the dictionary, parameter is what? Username colon. What is the value of the username? Admin, comma. This is login username and password. Here, password colon. Password is also admin. Like this, we need to pass. So in the new context itself, we can inject this HTTP underscore credentials, HTTP underscore credentials. So this is the value equal to username colon, and this is the dictionary, right? So this is a key and a value, another key and another value. So we need to pass like this. You can also put this in the next line if you want. You can put this in the next line, HTTP credentials equal to admin, and this bracket, you can close it here. This is the step. Second approach. This is preferred most of the times. So when you inject this HTTP credential at the time of context, you no need to specify anywhere else. So this will work exactly same way like a before one. So let me run this now. I already skipping the first one. Now I'm running the second one using context. Auth popup, run it. So it is, yeah, now it is running in headless mode. So why is it so? Why it is running headless mode? Because we created our own browser, own context. So when you create our own browser and context, we should explicitly specify headless equal to false. Where we have to specify that? At the time of launching the browser. So you should not forget that. My test is passed, but it is executed in headless mode. So we need to make it false. So at the time of launching the browser, headless equal to false. So now it is going to execute in headed mode. Now just observe, it will directly bypass the window. It won't ask any login box. See, directly it is jumped and congratulations, message is displayed. Okay, so these are the two different approaches which we have to handle authenticated pop-ups. And by using context, we will be able to handle that. Understood, everyone? Clear so far? So why it is an importance of context? What is the need of context? So beginning you might not understood, but now you should be able to understand why we need a context. In which case we have to work with the context. Whenever you want to work with the multiple pages, right? You need a context. So second one is a preferred approach. Second one is a preferred approach. Actually, we will pass this as a parameters. Okay, we will maintain this data in a separate file, like properties file or somewhere. We will pass as parameters. So in that way, we can make invisible to the user. But in the first approach, username and password is directly visible here, right? So that's the reason we won't prefer this first approach. We will prefer the second approach. So it is somehow it is not our our ID is not able to identify this statement properly. So that's the reason it is highlighting. It is not an error actually. Okay, it's still working fine. Sometimes you see these yellow marks, you can ignore that. So let me close and open one more time. Okay, it is still opening this. Okay. All right. So now finally we will see a simple thing called tabs. So far we have seen pop-up pages, pop-up type of pages. Now I'm going to show you tab. Like if I click on the new tab, now we can see another. This is also page. This is one page. This is another page. Same way how we have handled pop-up, in the exactly same way we will handle two pages. So once multiple tabs are open, we can switch to one tab to another tab. This is the main tab. This is another tab. We can call this a parent tab and this is called child tab. So let us see how we can handle this. It's exactly same as a pop-up. No difference because as per the Playwright, pop-up, tab, window, all things are considered as a pages. Right. Now create another file, test underscore tabs. Test underscore tabs and okay. So let me import required things. Now here also we need a browser context because we are working with the multiple tabs. Def test underscore handle tabs. Okay, so I'm trying to pass playwright fixture. Playwright come from the playwright. Okay, so again we will create our own browser, the own context. Everything is our own. So first we'll create the browser. So how to create playwright dot chromium dot launch. So this will give the browser. How to create a context? Browser dot new context. So this will give the context. And without context also we can create the browser. So we can say browser dot, you can say dot new page. There is an option called new page. Okay, it will directly create a page without having any context. Without having context means it will create its own context. But here we are creating our own context. Browser dot new context. So now by using this context, we can create our own page. So new page I'm creating. So this is actually our own page. Okay, now as soon as you launch this application, I call this as a parent page. I call it as a parent page. So once you click on the new tab, it opens another tab, right? I call this as a child page or child tab. Parent page and a child page. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I will call this as a parent page, because by default, whichever page we are created, I call it as a parent page. Using this parent page only, I'm going to launch my application. Okay. This is the application I'm going to launch. So navigated to this is the main parent page. So when you will get the child page, once you click on this new tab, then you will get the child page. Again, this is the event. So previously for the pop-up windows, what type of event we triggered, what type of event we registered? Pop-up event. Have you remember? If you go back and see in the Lambda, what is the event type here is pop-up. But when I open pages in the another tab, the event type is what? Page. The event type is page. So before clicking on this new tab, we should register an event. So I'm directly writing the Lambda function here. Register an event for handle tabs. Register an event. So we can write a customized function again that you can pass in the page.on method, or else you can directly write a Lambda. So I'm writing the Lambda. So taking the parent page. Actually, how to write the Lambda page.on we will write. But here we already have a parent page. So I'm using that. So parent page.on. Now what is the type of event? Page. So I'm just a page, comma, Lambda, and parameter is also page. And inside this, we need to write a body. What is the body? Load state. So just for pop-up also, we use same thing. So page dot wait for wait underscore for underscore load underscore state and close this. So parent page dot on, event is our page, Lambda, page is a parameter, colon, again page dot wait underscore for underscore load underscore state, and this is the statement. So what exactly we have done here is we registered event for handling the tab, and also this will get all pop-ups, all the pages whenever they opened. So after handling this, after registering event using Lambda, we need to click on the button. So before clicking on the button only, we have to register the event. Remember that. So this button, we need to write a CSS. So this is the button. We have to click, or else another way we can write. So we can say button is a tag name, and we have some name or text on the button. New tab, right? You can use has text, has underscore text of new space tab, close. You can use this. So this is actual locator. So how to get this locator? Parent page dot locator. This is our locator dot click. So if we have a confusion, directly use page here. We just renamed it. Okay, otherwise these are pages only. So like we will use page.go to page.on, page.locator, right? Because we have given different name here, I'm referring the same name. Don't confuse. So what this will do so far, it will open the page. And when I click on the new tab, the new page will be open, or new tab will be open. This will able to handle that. And now we will try to find out how many pages are open. So after clicking on the button, how many pages we are expecting? So I will also put some wait time here. Parent page dot wait for timeout 5 seconds. Now how many pages you are expecting after clicking on the tab? 2 pages we are expecting. There's a first page and second page. So we'll try to get them. So how to get them? In the previous example, we already seen that. So once we have a multiple pages or multiple pop-ups, if you want to capture all of them, how we can capture? Using what? All pages are belongs to same context, right? So use context dot pages. So this will get you all the pages, all tabbed pages, whatever tabs are open, all pages. Every tab is one page. Now we got it. So if you want to know how many of them, you can simply print number of tabs or pages. Okay. All pages is basically list collection. So we can use length function. Okay. So let us run till here. So because we created our own browser, we should specify headless equal to false. Headless equal to false. You mandatorily specify that. Okay. Otherwise, we cannot execute in headed mode. This is headless equal to false. Right. Let's execute now. Test underscore tabs. So this is my first page. Now tab is also open. So now two pages are open and we're referring the first page with the parent page. But what about the child page? So we need to get it. So to get the child page, because we already captured all the pages, basically what is this actually? This is a list, right? This is, what is this actually? This is a list. So if a list is having two pages, can we extract two pages differently? How we can extract? How we can extract? So in the list, we have a two pages. All pages is basically list, two pages. How to extract the first page and second page? See this. I'm just getting the titles, okay? Title of parent page. So parent page is obviously 0, the first page. So how to extract the first page here? All pages of index 0. This will get you the parent page. Now it will get the parent page, but not the title. So how to extract the title from the parent page? Dot title. Now if you want to extract the title of the child page, then child page in the sense child page or child tab. How to extract? Index. So 0 is representing the parent page, 1 is representing the child page. So let's run and see. So by using this index, we're able to switch whichever page you want to work. So now you can see both the tabs are open, the first tab and second tab. Closed. Now we can look at this. This is the title of the parent page and this is the title of the child page. Okay, now we can put the if condition. Suppose if you want to work with this particular parent page, use this option. Or else you can also store them in two different variables. Because parent page we already have. Now we can create another variable, child page equal to from all pages of one dot title, remove the title. So this, now we have a parent page at the beginning itself. Now we have a child page. So whichever page you want to work, you can refer that variable. Now you got the child page here. Now if you want to get the URL of the child page, so you can just print the URL of the child page. So how to get the URL of the child page? URL. We already get the child page dot URL. This will give the URL because we already have a child page. So we got it from by using index. So we have a parent page, we have a child page. So whichever page you want to work, you can refer that page now. Let's execute and see now. So in Selenium, it's a little bit complicated, but in Playwright, it's very simple. So we have a special command, switching commands in Selenium, but here we don't have such type of commands. Now we can simply look at this. This is the URL of the child page. Okay. So you can switch now. So if you want to work with parent page, use this instance, parent page. If you want to work with the child page, then use child page. There is no conflict at all. Okay. So this is how we can work with the multiple tabs or multiple pop-ups. And you need to remember the what type of event we need to trigger. So I will write a simple here for alerts or dialogues. So what is an event we have to trigger? What's the name of the event? Dialogue is an event. For downloading files, what is an event we have to trigger? What is an event? Download event. For pop-ups, what type of event we have to trigger? Pop-up event we have to trigger. For tabs, What type of event we have to trigger? Page type of event we have to trigger. Okay. Events. These are the different type of events. So far we have covered them. Okay. Types of events in different scenarios. So all these events we can trigger by using which function? Page dot on function. Page dot on. So these are the event names we have to specify as a first parameter. Okay. So now is it clear about context, browser, context pages, how we can work with them, how we can handle pop-ups, authentication pop-ups, tabs. So this is an important. Sometimes when you're working with applications, you can see these type of scenarios while automating the tests. Okay, so that's all for today's class. I will give you one assignment. You guys can try this assignment based on the tabs only. I'm going to just give one assignment. I'll provide the solution also, but you just do that. You have to use browser context and everything. So go to this application, Orange HRM. So here, just open the page. Okay, this is one page or one tab. Then what you should do is, so in the bottom, you can see one link here, Orange HRM Inc. So when you click on this, it opens another tab. So now we can see two pages. You can consider the first one is a parent page. Second one is a child page. Now we grab how many pages are there. Then in the first page, you just try to log in. And the second page, you just try to find the logo or find the title, or you can do whatever activity you want in this. So suppose in the second page, you want to click on the contact sales, just click on it. Okay, so in the first page, you have to do login. In the second page, you have to click on contact sales. And after completion of your task, close both of them. If you want to close both of them, how we can close? Simple, context.close and then browser.close. Simple. So finally, what you can do, context.close. After that, you can just close browser. Browser.close. It will close everything. This is your assignment. Okay. Try this today. So assignment based on the handle tabs, based on handle tabs. And what you should use it here, you need to use this one. Tabs event you have to use. Okay. Page event you have to use along with the page on, and then you have to find how many pages are there, and then you have to do login activity in the first page or parent page. And here you need to click on the contact sales. These are the two activities you have to do in the two different pages. And after that, you have to close both of them. So that is your assignment for today's class. Okay. So that's it for today's class. Let me stop here. We will continue tomorrow's session.